My understanding of this is the actual video from the surveillance camera and the, you know, all of the hardware,
right, the hard
that's
drive.
gone. It's gone. That this video, or the video CNN had, originated with a cell phone, somebody holding a cell phone, basically recording that original
Recording
video.
a monitor
Right.
where the video was playing.
And that's the most original of the videos that exist.
Which is what the prosecution is said that they are going to be showing.
They say they're in possession of a copy of that.
The story of Sean Diddy Combs, a name that once echoed throughout the world of hip-hop, business, and entertainment, has now taken a dramatic and disturbing turn. P. Diddy, also known as Puffy, Love, Brother Love, and countless other monikers, has been at the center of a storm that's beginning to unravel his legacy.
It all depends on how you are holding it. Their feeling is that it is going to make Diddy look, in some scenes, more menacing, which seems odd to say when the video we've seen, as you're seeing here, is plenty menacing, but there are specific things that they are picking apart.
Well, they're also saying that the CNN video seems to go faster than the actual...
Well, they're concerned that they can't tell where the sequence is because there's no time code on that.
Yeah.
From dominating the music industry in the 90s to becoming a household name, it seemed like Diddy's influence could never be broken. But now, as new allegations and legal charges surface, the mogul faces the darkest chapter of his career.
It's a little, honestly, I've read the declaration a couple of times now. It's a little bit confusing, but basically what we have here is two different videos the expert analyzed. One is a cell phone video and the other is a CNN video. The cell phone video is more immediate. It's taken directly from the actual security monitor. And there are apparently some distortions there, more with the perspective that it provides in terms of Diddy's size, his apparent heftiness in the video. It may distort him a little bit, but it doesn't really, they don't suggest that the actions that we see Diddy take.
As his trial approaches, fans and critics alike are asking, will Diddy's empire survive the storm? Or has it already crumbled under the weight of its secrets? Let's dive deep into the world of P. Diddy, where controversy meets the courtroom.
Are not, in fact, actual. They were somehow manipulated. The CNN video, they suggest there was some manipulation, not a bad action on the part of CNN, but simply in the process of transcoding it, that there may have been some distortion to the CNN video. But Harvey, that to me is irrelevant. If we have the original video shot from the security monitor, that's going to be what's introduced in court, not the CNN video.
Jason.
Sean Combs, a name that represented success, resilience, and influence. The music mogul who discovered and made stars out of artists like Biggie Smalls, Mary J. Blige, and Faith Evans built an empire from the ground up. But it wasn't just his talents in music that made him a force to be reckoned with. No, Diddy was more than that.
Here's the way I see this. You tell me if I'm wrong here. That the prosecution is going to say, we have a copy of the original video. The defense is going to say, we object. We don't want it admitted into evidence because it's distorted. It makes Diddy look more menacing. It makes him look larger than he actually was. It may go faster than it actually does. And the judge is going to say, I'm going to allow this evidence in, and on cross-examination, you can raise the issues you want about distortion.
He was a visionary, a reality TV mogul, and a business tycoon. Under his label, Bad Boy Records, he ushered in an era of hip-hop that was loud, unapologetic, and at the forefront of pop culture. Diddy's meteoric rise was the stuff of legends. From being an intern at Uptown Records to founding his own label,
that is precisely how it's going to go. It's not even on cross. They're going to call this same expert, the defense will, on direct, who's going to talk about distortion. And they're going to get all that in. But you're right. It is about the attacking the credibility of the evidence, not the admissibility of the evidence.
Right.
My name is Kyla. I'm in Atlanta, and I feel like the video should definitely be something for the jury to be the ultimate fact finder on. Let them compare what was seen in the video with other people's testimony of how Diddy has been.
Bad Boy, Diddy achieved the kind of success that most only dream about. He became a household name, not just in the music industry, but also in fashion, film, and television. But with fame came controversy, and now those controversies are threatening to dismantle the very empire he built. Fast forward to 2025, and Diddy is now facing federal charges that have shocked.
Look, that original video, the actual hard drive, probably doesn't exist.
No, it doesn't
the
exist.
Intercontinental Hotel
is gone.
Shut down.
Right.
and it's gone.
We're told it's gone.
Right.
So the best evidence is the copy of the cell phone video. Okay, we are going to move on.
Yeah. Now to an arrest for Haley Joel Osment.
Odd one.
An odd one, right. This one, he was on a ski trip here in California, went to Mammoth.
Shocked the world. His criminal trial, which is set to begin on May 5th, is the latest chapter in an already turbulent saga. Diddy, the man who once seemed untouchable, is now fighting for his freedom. Sex trafficking, prostitution, racketeering, these are just some of the charges hanging over his head. The backlash he faces is not just from his critics, but from the public who are beginning to ask themselves,
Actually accosted him because he was giving people a hard time at one of the ski lifts. We got some video. Here is part of their interaction with him that led to his arrest.
The backwards helmet is that giveaway. Yeah.
I saw that over there.
That might be a clue also.
I have no idea.
Back there, just had a little too much.
Sorry, guys.
Get out of the line, bro.
Yeah. Yo, get out of the line.
Get out of here.
was the king of hip-hop always the man he portrayed to be? Or was he hiding a much darker side? Behind the flashy lifestyle and public persona, the charges against Diddy aren't just rumors or accusations. They're serious. In fact, they represent a systematic pattern of manipulation and abuse that stretches from 2009 to 2024, according to prosecutors.
Hi.
My man, get out of the line. Look at your board.
So as you guys can see, his helmet was on backwards and he was trying to get on the slope without his snowboard. So eventually Ski Patrol stepped in. They took him down the mountain to a parking lot where they then called police. Police showed up. They arrested him for public intoxication as well as possession of a controlled substance.
Allegations of coercion, kidnapping, and threats of violence have come to light, painting a disturbing portrait of the man who once ran one of the most powerful empires in the entertainment world. But the most shocking aspect of these allegations is the claim of sex trafficking, a crime that, when tied to someone of Diddy's stature, becomes a much larger story.
I'm told that's actually been sent to a lab to be tested to see exactly what that is. But we spoke to some people around Haley who said that he's kind of going through a hard time right now. He lost his home in the Altadena fire along with all his belongings. He's having trouble with insurance and all that stuff. But yeah, this is bad.
Oh my God, that is so sad.
Yeah.
I got to say, the only thing that's a little bit surprising is usually public intoxication is when you're just incorrigible.
Right.
You know,
and he just seemed.
Federal prosecutors accuse Diddy of not only using his influence to lure women into dangerous situations, but also of using violence and threats to control them. There are even allegations of drugs, firearms, and psychological manipulation being used to keep victims in line. This is no longer just a story about a celebrity scandal. This
Mr. Valentine, based out of Orlando, Florida. I mean, with everything going on with the fires and stuff, he just probably needed a day to kick back and relax. But honestly, this is not the first time we've seen Haley be arrested for public intoxication. So at some point, he's kind of got to tighten up and be just a little bit more responsible.
yeah, it's just really sad though, because so many people are going through.
is a story of real lives being destroyed by someone who was supposed to be a mentor and a leader. The investigation into Diddy's actions took a chilling turn when authorities raided his Los Angeles mansion. What they discovered was more than just an opulent home. It was a place that held horrific secrets. Law enforcement found items that were clearly intended for use in orgies, items like drugs and baby oil, and not just a small amount, but over
It is the war I did not see coming, although there's obviously been a lot of rhetoric from the Trump administration about Ivy League schools. But now this is an all-out war between President Trump and Harvard, and it is getting hot. You know, of course, yesterday they froze $2 billion in grants, but now
They want to take away the tax exempt status.
And block potentially Department of Homeland Security is talking about
1,000 bottles. To say that these items were found in an innocent context would be naive. These were materials used for what's now being called the freak-offs that Diddy allegedly hosted at his mansion. A disgusting and disturbing practice that not only involved sex, but also abuse, manipulation, and control. The implications of these discoveries are enormous. The The baby oil alone raised eyebrows. It was being used to lubricate both the physical acts,
blocking Harvard and other schools from admitting students from other countries. I don't know where this goes, but Harvard is the first school really to take a stand against these policies that the administration is rolling out. Can they win this battle? Who's actually going to back down? Joining us right now is renowned professor of public leadership and social justice.
and, potentially, the mental manipulation of those involved. This wasn't just a party scene gone wrong, it was a carefully orchestrated method of exploitation. The idea of sex trafficking is becoming clearer by the day, and with each new revelation, Diddy's defense team is scrambling to defend him. They claim these were all consensual acts carried out by former girlfriends who now regret their actions, but prosecutors say that this is a smokescreen, a desperate attempt to cover up the truth. In the face
Cornell William Brooks at Harvard, and he is joining us right now. Professor Brooks, welcome to TMZ Live.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for lifting up this issue, and just thank you for the work that you do.
We appreciate that. So, there are people who are saying, well, it's $2 billion, but Harvard has over $50 billion in endowments, so it's not really going to make a dent. I've heard otherwise, that this money is significant. Can you kind of give your take on it?
Sure. So let's not be distracted by the ivy and the prestige
of mounting charges, Diddy's legal team has maintained that the allegations are nothing more than a series of misunderstandings. They argue that the sexual encounters were not coerced, but were part of consensual relationships that have now been misrepresented. Diddy himself has strongly denied all charges, painting himself as the victim of a smear campaign designed to destroy his reputation. According to Diddy's camp, these accusations are from former lovers who have decided to take advantage of his fame and wealth. But let's be honest, the public isn't buying it. How can someone who was so vocal about being an advocate for empowerment and success in the public eye now be the subject of allegations that paint him as a predator?
to the detriment of work and service. And what I mean by that is, yes, Harvard has a $50 billion endowment, and the proceeds from that largely are designated to specific things. So when we think about Harvard University, it is a distinctly American university that has a global reach. And what I mean by that is Harvard spends millions of dollars focused on cancer research dedicated to Alzheimer's or Parkinson's disease, or battling malnutrition.
How can someone who built an empire based on inspiring others and mentoring the next generation of artists be accused of running an underground network of exploitation and abuse? As the trial date approaches, the pressure on Diddy is mounting. Once the king of hip-hop, Diddy is now being seen by many as a man with a dark...
Its physicians, doctors, and scientists are literally on the cutting edge of service to the world. But not only that, Harvard sends teachers into classrooms, public servants into the community to address inequities in education, hunger, and some of the most difficult problems affecting people in this country. That's in addition to the medical school, the hospital, the people who work in the dining hall. And so the idea that you can cut $2.2 billion
past, one that involves exploiting the very people he claimed to uplift. The charges against him aren't just affecting his reputation, they're destroying it. What was once a thriving business empire has now been reduced to a house of cards, with lawsuits piling up, public backlash
from any institution, and that not have a real-world impact is laughable. And let's be clear about this. This is the government cutting $2.2 billion from Harvard's service to the country and to the world. Why? Because Harvard declined to allow the federal government to micromanage a university. No school should do this. No university should capitulate to this kind of thing. And it doesn't benefit the students, the faculty, the staff, and most certainly not the people we serve.
So, Professor, obviously you're right. The money will have an impact, but
intensifying, and the weight of his criminal charges casting a shadow over everything he built. Diddy's legal team may claim that these are just baseless allegations, but the facts are mounting against him, with multiple women coming forward with alarming testimonies of their time with him. And
Harvard does have them, can withstand this. And it feels like someone at Harvard decided we have to, if not us, then who is going to take a stand against the administration trying to, as you put it, micromanage each university across this country.
That's right. See, to be clear here, Harvard has decided that the price is high, but it is worth it. How so? To have the federal government.
With evidence of coercion, drugs, and intimidation stacking up, it's hard to deny that something dark and disgusting was taking place behind closed doors. From a grand jury indictment to federal charges, the stakes have never been higher. Diddy may have once been a self-made mogul, but now he's facing a trial that could lead to prison time and irreparable damage to his career. His empire is on the brink of collapse, and the question remains, will Diddy face the music, or will he dance his way out of it once again? As Diddy's trial begins in May 2025,
100 Robbies went to number 1.
Just 100 positions between them. It was close.
Wow. Sometimes it usually works out. I mean, I remember Dolly Parton and Whitney Houston. Dolly was so effusive about Whitney.
Yeah.
Yeah. They did two very different versions too. Dolly's version was very plaintive and sweet. Whitney was this big booming declaration.
Yeah.
Brittany just kind of.
No, you're right.
She didn't change it.
I shouldn't even have made the comparison. Okay, no. We got to take a break.
All right. When we come back, fresh off that Blue Origin flight that everybody is so up in arms about, Lauren Sanchez got a special gift from her celebrity friends. You will see what the Kardashians handed her when she got back to Earth.